Hello, everybody. Welcome today. Hello, Andy. Hello, Annika. Hello, Michelle. Mira. Hello, Monica. Mira, hello. Michael, hello. Naomi, so lovely. This is a bit of a get back together, a gathering. Peter, Rachel, Rochelle, Sarah, you, Siva, Sean, Sherry, hello. Welcome, everybody. Hello, Sophia. Hello, Sue, Tammy, Tony. Hello, everyone. Great to have you here. Take a few moments to let people settle in. As we're starting, we'll have a lot of interaction today. So if you can start to make yourself familiar with the chat, make your way over to the chat and just let us know where you're coming in today from, where are you calling in from, where in the world are you? Such a great opportunity to be together today. I want to get a little bit of connection and conversation going. Let us know where you're coming in from in the chat. All 73 of you. Hello, Caitlin. Caitlin, hello. Brock, Crystal, Cindy, Dale, hello. Daria, Esther, Eve, Philippe. Hello, everybody. People are telling me the chat is not working, so I think I fixed it. Thank you for that. Can you please let us know where you're coming in from? Let's see if the chat can be used now. There we go. Gregory, hello. I was just talking about you with Delvin the other day. Jamie Wilson, Jeff K, hello. Joy, Karen. Karen Olson, hello. What a nice thing to see you on today. Kenton Zurban, hello, sir. My goodness. Karen, hello. Christina, Laura, Lauren, Lori, Lisa, Louise, Lynn. Hello, everybody. Hello, Lynn. Lynn's a neighbor. I could wave out the window. She might see me. Maggie, Marion, Megan. Hello, everybody. Oh, so lovely. So lovely to see you all today. Oof. Feels good to be together. Definitely feels good to be together. Fantastic. Well, folks, it is a great pleasure to have you all here today. And I am very excited to share the conversation we have because it's one that I think a lot of us deal with, this concept, this idea of social media and how to work with social media in a way that doesn't drive us crazy, as I think most of us might feel from time to time. I know I do. And with that, we have Raya Merrill with us today, which I'm really excited to hear from and learn from. Raya's been doing this work for close to 6 years, and it's just so incredible to have her present with us and having worked together. And we're here today to talk about our work in the world. And that's what I love about this, because it's a story of what we do, how we work with people, how we care with people. And most of us care so deeply about our work, and it's something where social media can feel kind of heavy, confusing, like there's a right way to do it and we're failing or not keeping up. But this session and the way that Raya approaches her work is another way. It's a way to share your brilliance without becoming frustrated or annoyed at social media. And this webinar today is a bit of a workshop webinar. It's an interactive webinar, a web shop. So you may hear me pause a few times to ask you a question, to drop something in the chat like we just did, which I so appreciate. So you've already told me where you're coming in from, and I love that. So the next question is, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your business? What are you trying to share with the world? Maybe it's a permaculture site or farm. Maybe you're a holistic practitioner, but tell us who you are. Tell us a little bit about what your business is in the chat, because if Ryan and I were just going to talk to you for an hour and a half, honestly, it wouldn't be a great use for your time. We could have recorded it and sent you the link. We asked you to be here for a very specific reason, because sharing your work, like tending the land or growing a system, is a conversation. We're in community. It's a gathering. Everything happens in context. And when we live and we don't interact, we miss that chance to actually relate to each other. So I thank everybody for starting to share who you are and what you're doing in the chat. I love that. Regenerative Living, the platform that we're hosting this on, as well as the course that's coming up, is about learning practical skills to live on the planet as if we intend to stay. And this is one of those skills. How do we share our gifts with the world? Social media is one of those things that I think we can have issues with or frustrations with, but it can also be an incredible tool, like a knife. A knife can be used for incredible applications. And as Raya will show you today, you don't have to dance, perform, or force yourself into a model to be effective. You can build a social media presence that fits who you are, how you work, and the life you actually want to live. So before we get going, I want to put your mind at ease and give you a clear sense of where we're headed today. Here's the shape of the session. That was a little Sean Connery impression that was inadvertent. If at any point there isn't something for you, if you want to step away from the time together, that's totally fine. Definitely stay for the value we are here to deliver. And if you need to step away, that's totally fine. So first and foremost, I'll tell you a little bit about regenerative living. Next, Raya has created this incredible tool called the Sustainable Social Media Self-Assessment Tool, which I'll be putting in the chat shortly. It's wonderful to open up and to work throughout the time together. Raya will be giving small pieces of content and then asking you where you're at with your social media, and you'll be able to get a sense of those different elements. So I'll be showing that to everybody in a second here. Then we're going to dive deep into social media in terms of how to create a social media you enjoy and you don't resent. She's also going to be sharing with us the Sustainable Social Media Equation, which is such an incredible tool, another gift she's wanting to give to everybody today. And then we'll talk about the course that's coming up in March, on March 7th. And if you don't want to be here to talk about the course, take a nourishment break, take 5 or 10 minutes, go take a walk, and come on back. For those of you that are keen, I'll be going deep into what the course is and what it isn't, and we'll be able to go a little bit deeper there. I want to ask everybody quickly, we need a little bit of help. And so after the course offer, I'm going to ask your help for about a minute or two. It's a very short survey. And these types of surveys help us to get better, help us to grow. And it's a wonderful reciprocation in terms of the gift that Raya is giving and hearing back from all of you. So I just want to ask everybody, thumbs up into the chat if you'd be willing to help us out with a small 1 to 3 minute survey at the end of the conversation this week. Or this week. We're not going to be together that long at the end of the webinar. But yeah, I will. Kim, thank you so much. Katrin. Oh yeah, lots of yeses coming in. Thanks everybody. I love that. And then finally, we're going to do some excellent Q&A. Raya is renowned for her Q&A. And so if you take a look at the bottom of the webinar, you'll see a Q&A little box. A few of you were using it to tell me that the chat wasn't working. Thanks again. So if you have questions for Raya, make sure that they go into the Q&A as opposed to into the chat. The chat is where we'll be interacting with each other, responding to questions I ask you. And if you have questions for Raya, please put them into the chat. As I go through the course offering and the survey, she'll be taking a chance to answer your questions directly in the Q&A, because some of your questions will be straightforward. Other questions she'll probably save for doing live. Okay, let's get started. So Regenerative Living is an online educational platform I created back in 2019. And it's because I was seeing people who were very polarized. Nobody knows about that type of conversation today, do we? We've definitely moved further there. And so the big conversation here within Regenerative Living was to have a way of being with each other, a way of conversing with each other that was specific about a skill, a practice. And so I reached out to a good buddy of mine, Joe Tobias of Root Shoot Soil, who helps people create incredible soil. And so we created the very first course, The Art and Science of Cultivating Living Soils. And since then, over the last 6 years, we've definitely expanded our catalog of courses, everywhere from soil to rainwater harvesting to making forests that produce food or fuel. And as we're coming into this next season, we have a couple of exceptional courses coming up. We have how to make a forest of food with centropic farming. We, of course, have Raya's course, Sustainable Social Media. If you've ever wanted to learn how to make better decisions by envisioning a future of a project, a relationship, a business, and then using those values to filter decisions, we'll be doing an immersive 8-month values-based decision-making course coming up here. And plus a couple more. If you've ever been keen to take a permaculture design course, the premier way of understanding how to live on this planet long term, and you're in the tropics or you think about moving to the tropics, we have an exceptional course coming up with Pavnir Design. It's going to be my 79th PDC that I have taught, and I'm really excited. So next, what I want to do is just invite everybody to take a look in the chat. I'm going to make sure it goes to everybody. And this is the Sustainable Social Media Self-Assessment. Now, when you click on that link, it's going to automatically make a copy, and you can save that copy. You can download, put it into a PDF, all those good things. Rai took some time to ask a bunch of questions of you, really excellent questions to dive deeper into who you are. And we're going to be asking you questions throughout the workshop webinar today. So please do make a copy of that. Keep it close at hand. It's one of Rai's gifts to everybody. It's a little self-assessment, little check to be like, where am I at with my social media? And are we in a real sustainable place? So feel free to take a copy of that. Okay. So one of the things that we do in these interactive workshops is we ask questions, deep questions, probing questions, questions that help us to better understand ourselves, who we are, how we go about the world as is. And this question is really about developing a sense of where you're at and why you're here today, the importance of a possibility of where you are and what's happening. So in a moment, I'm going to put the question up, and I'm going to give everybody roughly 90 seconds to answer this question. It's not a lot of time. We're kind of looking for elegantly brief. What's the core of the question? And if you finish the question early, feel free to put it into the chat. I may even start to read some of the answers early. But this question, which I think everybody knows, because on one hand, you already have an answer to this question, or else you wouldn't be here, because the reason that you're here helps you to connect with the conversation we're having today. It tends to make the learning more meaningful, more impactful, and provides more action. The second reason we answer questions like this is that when you hear each other's answers, it often changes the significance of an experience. So I'm going to put the music on. We're going to take 90 seconds here. I'll put the question into the chat. Why is it important for you to learn about sustainable social media today? Why is it important for yourself, for your business, and for the people you help, most importantly? So I'm going to put 90 seconds up and just take some time to answer this question. I'm really excited to hear what everybody has to say about this. I love seeing the answers already. Kenton, start where the learner is at. There's a war on attention. Isn't that the truth? Rachel, myself, my business, how to stay creative with my social media. Thank you, Rachel. Katie, because while I enjoy creating posts, I have low interaction and conversion. Okay, so we're already getting to some outcomes. Patrice, to avoid burnout and have energy for actually working with clients. Here, here. That's the point, right? Catherine, because I would like to connect with people in a meaningful way that doesn't make me feel like I'm on a hamster wheel. Anybody else feel like social media can make them feel like a hamster wheel? I do. Fantastic. Naomi, I have mixed feelings about it. I like reaching out and connecting people to a community of food growing, but I find I get frustrated and annoyed with it. Yeah, here, here. Peter, social media seems like such a powerful tool and such a good potential, but it's also such overkill and it feels like too much to manage. I want to use it, but in a way that works for my viewers and for me. Tony, I'm just curious. Christina, last one, for myself for a better life. Oh, thanks, folks. Fantastic. Well spent 90 seconds. And as you're going through, if you still want to keep putting down your thoughts, please do. I'm excited to hear what everybody else has to say, and I'll be reading them all. So we're here today to talk about sustainable social media. And in that, one of the things and the reasons why Ryan and I decided to make this course is that people fail at social media for a number of reasons, but the tops was there's really an unclear message. There's an unclear message internally in terms of your business essence, who you are, and in communicating that. And most people don't really have a strategy. They use tactics that don't really move the needle, and I think generally we look at social media as something we have to perform instead of practice, just like everything else. There's always a practice to storytelling. And Raya really sees social media as storytelling. It's another form of sitting around the campfire and telling stories that people enjoy. And this is some of the reasons why we decided to make the course. So, with that, I want to say welcome to Raya Merrill of Merrill Marketing. Raya's been at this work for close to 6 years. She's worked with incredible marketers like Tad Hargraves of Marketing for Hippies, helping to grow his social media from a few thousand to 36,000. She's helped people like Andrew Millison, who's a permaculture YouTuber and teacher with Oregon State University, to go from almost no followers on social media up to 46,000 to help his YouTube channel. And all of it comes down to the fact that Raya has built systems and processes from a very loving place. You'll hear from former students of ours and clients about how much they love working with Raya because she brings such a sensibility to the conversation that helps people to realize that social media doesn't have to suck. Social media can be something that we work with as a tool, and to do it in a way that works for us. You'll hear this, you'll hear Raya say this a bunch over today. Social media has to work for you. And if it doesn't, then you need to change it. So with that, Raya, thank you so much for being here today with us. Thank you for spending all the time over the last 6 years to develop your process and your conversation, to test everything so that way we can then give it to folks today and also in the course in a great way. And thank you again for being here. I'm so excited to be hosting you again.
Thank you, Jem, for such a lovely introduction and for hosting me today and allowing the space for all of us to be here. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited for you all to be here, and especially with the current landscape of social media. And in what I've seen in the last 6 years, this topic has become more and more important to me. And the amount of time that we spend on these social media platforms, how tired so many of us are as small business owners. We are wearing so many hats. And this is an area where I have expertise where I want to share to make that hat not feel so heavy. So I believe you guys can see my slides. John, can you give me a thumbs up just to make sure? Amazing. Thank you. I also want to draw your attention to the fact that I have some party decorations up still because I had a birthday recently. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to just keep them up because we are celebrating today. We're celebrating that we're going to make our social media manageable and work for us. So let's dive in. So what I want to start off with here is just that my hope for you today is that you're going to be able to walk away from this webinar and be able to evaluate where you are with your current social media right now. Where are the gaps? Where do you need to work on pieces and maybe have a little bit of a focus on what to work on next? I'm really excited to share the sustainable social media equation with you because that is a way for you to figure out what you need to do next with your social media. And my ultimate hope is that you'll have at least one action step after today, maybe even a couple. So, as Javin mentioned before, he did say that this is going to be interactive. So please turn off your notifications, close down those browsers, and try your best to be as present as possible because I've got lots of information for all of you today, and I want to make sure that you can soak in as much as you can. So grab a pen and some paper or notes app, and let's get into it. And that pen and paper, I do want to say, will be good for you to write down numbers as we go, because I am going to be asking you some questions where you're going to need to write down some numbers. So that will be handy for you to have. So 6 years ago, I started helping people share their business with systems and rhythms that weren't exhausting. But I have a confession to make. I really didn't like social media. I wasn't a fan at all. I didn't understand the point of it. I didn't feel comfortable putting myself online or being an influencer. And I didn't see how it would help business owners. But then, yeah, we'll get into that later. But I also really didn't like systems either. Systems felt like a lengthy process. They felt like so long to get set up and get going. And I didn't see the point in them. But then COVID hit. And I had to pivot to working online, and I lost both of my jobs in that process. So I needed to find something else, and that's when I fell into social media managing. And I fell into working for a hippie who teaches other hippies how to market their business online in a way that doesn't feel gross. Enter Tad Hargrave. For those of you who don't know Tad, he is the owner and founder of Marketing for Hippies. And he is happy for me to share the work that we've done together today. Also, because it's a bit of a celebration, honestly. We started with 3,000 followers, and now he's at 36,000 followers, which is just incredible. In the beginning, in the first couple years of working with Tad, we had Rebecca Van Dam kickstart and establish Tad's content strategy and helped with some initial systems as well. Problem was is that Tad had so much content. He is a very generous person. He has lots of ideas. He is a brilliant educator. But for the social media manager who was trying to keep track of all his content, it was a maze. It was so difficult to find anything. So I developed a structure to help me create and plan and then track everything. By doing this, it resulted in that 10 times growth on Instagram and also that 4 times growth on Facebook. I took these systems that I developed and tested on Tad to other clients, and I was so thrilled that I was able to repeat that success. I felt like I gentled the beast of social media. And as many of you may feel, social media is quite a beast to master. My clients started getting their time back, and this started making the results and the value of social media more apparent to me. It got to the point and is now at that point where I actually really love social media. And I love that I get to work with incredible businesses. I think there's so many amazing people out there who are doing exceptional work. And the fact that I get to work with them and help them bring their businesses alive and bring them online to share and find their ideal customers, I think is incredible. I'm also obsessed with systems. And as my poor fiance knows, I try to implement systems in everything. The other client that I want to share with you today is Andrew Millison. Andrew Millison is also happy for me to share our work together with you today. And I'm sharing him because we also had incredible success, but he does incredible and beautiful projects all over the world. If you want to see some pretty incredible like places in the world that are doing some really cool things with permaculture, definitely look him up because all of the videos he does too are just so beautiful. When I was working with Andrew, there was quite a difference between our strategy between Tad and Andrew. Tad had tons of content, and then Andrew had a different kind of content and also different goals. We'll get into more of those goals and the content and his message in a bit, but I want to mention this because they did have a very different approach, and we created that sustainable system for both of them. Now I think of social media as a tool, and I focus on being a creator versus a consumer. I want to share this quote with you because it really does ground me in how I approach social media now. And I think it's an important one to hear. We are living in a war of attention. I wake up in the morning and I can be a consumer or a creator. If I reach for my phone, I'm a consumer. If I go to my journal, I'm a creator. If my advice to anyone who wants to be successful in any domain is to do things away from where you broadcast and then take it to that broadcast. I mean, take your real life to Instagram and be very cautious about taking Instagram to your real life. Andrew Huberman. Don't get me wrong. I can still waste a lot of time on social media looking at cute dog videos and finding new recipes. But as a producer versus a consumer. I help my clients find healthy and sustainable habits to share their stories online. I also want to make this clear here that when I first started social media, I didn't learn the conventional ways of social media. I didn't learn how to chase trends. I didn't learn how to go viral and keep up with all the mega accounts. I needed to find an approach that felt right to me and felt sustainable and also fit my clients. And then, most importantly, got results. When I think about social media now and my whole philosophy around it, that really does keep me steady in the choppy seas of social media. What grounds me is this philosophy around knowing your business essence. So knowing this is knowing what your business is about and where you're going with it. Also, to have a system that allows you to track, compile, create, and plan so you're never staring at your screen and wondering what to do next. You're able to consistently show up with your online presence, which does develop and deepen that trust with your relationship with your audience. I also believe in creating authentic and beneficial content by sharing what resonates with you and your business most. Because when you lean into that unique point of view, that's what sets you apart from others. And that's how your audience can connect with you deeper. This approach to social media ensures you're not being taken away from what's really important in your life, but you can still share your business's message and approach to reach the audiences who are already a yes for what you offer. This philosophy safeguards your time and makes sure that you're not endlessly scrolling and that you're creating something that you believe in and that lights your soul up. So I'm curious, you guys, when you're thinking about your social media, does social media make you feel A, bogged down, or B, energized? Let me know in the chat. Amazing. I love the variety here. I do see a lot of you who do feel A. Yeah, fair enough. Especially these days. There's something about it. It just keeps sucking you in and you keep, what am I trying to say? My mind's already going, guys. But yes, it is a lot of energy to wonder what you should do next and also feel that inspiration, see what other creators are making, but then wonder how can you make something like that too? Thank you, everyone. Amazing. I saw a C somewhere in there. Oh, there it is. Both depending. Yeah, amazing. And that can show the ups and downs as well. The next question I have for you is your social media A, the wild, wild west, where you post anything at any time, or are you B, are you organized and calculated? Let me know. Awesome. Bit of both. Great. I do see a lot of variety, but I also see a lot of cowboys in the chat. Amazing. Awesome, everyone. Great. Wild, Wild West. Amazing. Thank you, everyone. All right, last question for you. Have you developed a philosophy for how you approach social media for your business to guide and safeguard you? Or B, do you follow what others say? Awesome. Great. Okay, neither. Interesting. I got some C's as well. And you guys are all answering so quickly. It's amazing. I'm not able to catch everything, but very cool. It's very interesting to see some of you guys saying both. Yeah, and it's hard to know what you should follow as well. So I totally understand that. Amazing. Thank you, everyone. All right. Let me introduce you to the sustainable social media equation. The first part of the equation is business essence. This is knowing your why, services, products, and offerings, and your message. Then we have structure, which is the simple systems that reduce the stress and the mess. Then we have rhythm, which is develop a consistent rhythm that fits you and makes the when easy. Then we have storytelling, telling an authentic and honest story that matters to you. This all equals to sustainable social media. Now, at this point, I want to just remind you guys to have that pen and paper out or that notes app or somewhere where you can keep track of these numbers, because I am going to ask you a little bit of a self-assessment at the end of each section here. Let's take a look at business essence first. This is the first part, and business essence is the foundation of everything. It's the DNA and it's the core identity of your business. It's where everything comes from. So it's the who you help, how you help them, your services or products, and the value your business gives. When you know this, you can share your work a lot easier and you can have that stronger impact because you're very clear on how your business is different from others and what your unique offerings are. Taking a look at this example here. So this is a client that I worked with. They were a medical mushroom dispensary. And when I first started working with them, they really struggled with their business essence. So they knew they had a great product and they knew it worked well, but they couldn't make that connection with their audience. So when they posted online, they weren't getting the sales that they wanted, and they also weren't getting the engagement on their posts. So when we started our work, we really researched what their competitors were doing. And then we evaluated how they were different from them. So what made them unique and how they could speak to that specifically. They also started listening to their audience more. They had those conversations with them and asked them essentially what they needed. And what they needed was education. There's not a lot of education around medical mushrooms out there. And so there is that nervous or maybe even fearful component to it. So for them, it was important to really hone in on their business essence, who they helped, and why, so they could speak to them in a clear way and make those deeper connections with their audience. All right. So when you think about your business essence, rate on a scale of 1 to 10, 1, not at all, to 10, you know completely. How much do you know your business essence? How much do you know about the work you do, what you do exactly, who you help? Let me know on that scale of 1 to 10. Where do you think you are? Amazing. Awesome. Great. A lot of people are in like the mid-range to high range. Fantastic. Great, everyone. 6.9. I like it. I like the specificity of that. Awesome, guys. Great. Wonderful. And I would imagine too, if a lot of you are coming from Tad's community, Tad's really good at this section too, and making sure and giving you that support and understanding this section. Thank you. Okay, so the next part that I want to speak to you about is structure. So again, it's the simple systems that reduce the stress and the mess. Structure is knowing where everything is. It's where you should go next, and it's how everything is organized. It ensures you never feel overwhelmed or lost, and you can find pieces of content. You can engage and focus on that creativity instead of being lost in your files and just trying to find something and you're losing that idea. Has anyone ever been trying to find a certain picture or file and you can see the whole creative post that you want to make, but then as you're just trying to find that file, you're losing the idea? That maybe that's just me, but this is what supports you always, and make sure that your creativity has the space to grow. When we're looking at the long tail benefit of structure, besides making sure everything is accessible and you know where everything is, so you're not constantly playing that guessing game, once these systems are built, you won't ever need to build them again. I know this might sound crazy, but if you build them well off the bat, they grow and build with you. So you just get into a refining piece when it comes to your structure. Structure is that foundation, that support to your social media efforts. When your structure is too complicated, you also won't use your system. So it's important to make sure that they work for you, because if they don't work for you, you won't do it. You won't follow those systems that you create. In Tad's case, building a structure became the foundation of his growth and success on social media, which resulted in those more clients and members for his community. With structure to organize brainstorming, to follow a strategy, create and track content, Tad now has, in his own words, a system that could keep going if he never made new content again. That's a very important part that I want you to remember. That's why it's good to create those systems. When we're taking a look at what a system could look, or sorry, a system and a structure could look like, this is one thing that I use with my students and my clients a lot. This is the social media hub spreadsheet. This is where we can find all of your ideas. This is also where we can put all of your ideas and track them from ideation stage to posted to repurposed or repurposed. We also have the content schedule as well. So tracking when you've posted something, what you're supposed to do next when it comes to your content schedule. And then we also have a section for content itself. So you're not searching and trying to find these pieces. They're all here and ready for you to use when you are ready to call upon them. The other piece that I want to speak about here is the analytics. So this is a little bit of a tip. So yes, you can see and track your analytics online on any social media platform, but each of them are different. So Facebook, they are quite generous. You can go back at least 2 years, but LinkedIn, I believe you can only see your analytics for like 2 weeks. So I'm not sure about those because I typically use a scheduling app that allows you to see your analytics a little bit longer. But one of the pieces of analytics that I love for you to track that you're not able to see in the long term is your follower count. So on Instagram, say you started your account 3 months ago, it's at 0, and you wanted to see how many followers you got each month. You're not able to see that exact number. So that is an important analytic that I would at least take a screenshot of that once a month so you can see what that exact growth is, because you don't see that number when you're in Instagram analytics. Okay, so when you're thinking about your structure, on that scale of 1, no structure at all, to 10, couldn't be better, what rating would you give your social media structure? And no judgment here on any of these answers, I want to say. This is just for all of us to support each other, especially because, yes, usually the structure one is 0 or negative. You guys. Yeah, fair enough. This is the hard one. This is the one that also takes the longest to build. And when you're already busy, when you're already wearing all those hats in your business, it's hard to carve out that time and work on your system, especially when you might not feel confident in working on your system. So that's great. I also see a couple 8s and 7s in here. Wonderful. Yay. I'm very happy for you guys there. And I'm happy for those who feel like it is a 0 or low or 2 or 1, because then you know that this is a spot where you can do a little bit of work and get your systems in place. The next portion of the equation is rhythm. Now, rhythm is developing that consistent rhythm that fits you and makes the when easy. Rhythm is that cadence of your social media. It's that step-by-step process that guides your workflow and gives you those triggers when you need it so you can stay focused on what you're supposed to do. So much of the time we can pull out our phone to even just see how many likes we got on our posts, and then we start scrolling. But with rhythm, there are ways to build it where you reduce those distractions and don't get off track. With rhythm, you always know what to do next, but like structure, it has to fit you. There are a lot of key features on this page, but the thing I want to express the most to you here is that the main aspect of rhythm is that it needs to come from you and your business. Our life happens. There are so many moments where we are all of a sudden consumed by something in our life where we have to pivot our energy and have to pivot our time. This could be maybe you have a kid, you have a kid, or you need to take care of a loved one, or you have a big project that's come up at work. With rhythm, you're able to keep the show going essentially, and you have those systems in place that you have that ability to step back when you need to. You have that ability to still keep that social media presence online, even though you have put your efforts elsewhere because you're called to, and that's okay. So let's think, is there anything else I need to tell you about this? But yeah, I just want to say again, it's just our business is constantly growing, and there are moments in our business where we need to have a bit of a hiatus. It really does come down to the seasons. There's certain seasons in our business where usually in the winter we need to slow down, hunker down, get our systems and structures in place. And then when we come to the spring, that's when we can start finding new clients and have that movement, and that's when we're creative. So rhythm is what supports you through all of those seasons of your life and your business. I want to show you an example of what a rhythm could look like in a form of a content calendar. So this is a client's content calendar here, and I am just going to grab my cursor here because I want to point something out to you. Perfect. So you'll see here that this is a whole week from Monday to Friday, and there's only 2 days of the week that they post. They have two content pillars. So for those of you who don't know what a content pillar is or feel a little foggy on that, content pillars they help you categorize and systematize your content creation. They act as the guide to your content so you can stay clear on your business's message and create content that supports your goals. So you pull from your content pillars to get more topics and ideas for your content. So here on this Tuesday, we have a pillar 1, which is a mindset shift. So this is great for coaches. For this example, I want to bring that up is that if you find that there's tons of mindset shifts that you're constantly sharing with your clients, you might want to have that pillar where you can pull those topics from. And then Thursday, we have client transformation stories, which is also good for coaches, but this can be good for permaculturists as well. You can really play with this content pillar. And the key with content pillars is that it's not about education, sales, inspiration. Those are the generic ones. You want to make sure you're creating ones that are specific to your business that will help you with the goal that you need in your business. This is another content calendar, and full transparency, this is Tad's. Tad's, as you can imagine, he does post a lot. We're at a point where we posted 7 days a week, twice a day. I've gotten down a little bit with the changing with the strategy, but I just want to show you what's possible. This is not something that you need to strive to. I just want to show you how different two people's Instagrams can be, but still get growth and still get that engagement and growth that they're looking for. So again, he also has content pillars here too, and that helps guide his content. The other thing I just want to mention here is that you'll see these check marks right here. And so if you've posted for a month and then at the end of that month, you've come to look at your content calendar here. And if you notice that, say on Monday, you weren't able to keep up with any of these posts, or maybe only these posts like 50% of the time by checking these off, then that's an indicator to you that you need to take that out of your content calendar because you're not able to keep up with it. So that's another form of rhythm, that within rhythm, you're able to have those triggers when something's not working. And when you open yourself up to that too, and keep an eye out for those and have those really honest conversations with ourselves, it's very easy to say, yes, I'm going to post every day of the week. But the reality is that we've got kiddos, we've got multiple businesses, we're taking care of someone, we just have life that we have to keep up with. So be gentle on yourself. And when you are reviewing how many posts you can do a week, start at least one less than you think you can. If you think you can do 4 a week, start with 3. Rhythm, as I've alluded to before, it can look different for everyone. For Tad, when he goes to create his content, he discovered that he was really comfortable speaking into the camera. And that's how he created multiple pieces of content in one day. He would go on walks and he would just have that flow, and he would try over and over until it felt right. He was able to keep refining his thoughts when he did this. And he was able to bring it back to his new offerings they had and to just keep supporting his community. The tip here, if you want to try this for yourself, is that after you speak into the camera, review what you've recorded. And then when you are going to record that final version, make sure you start with the big aha moment or the hook first. You may have heard about hooks before. Hooks can have a negative connotation to it, but hooks really are just that one liner at the beginning so people know what your reel is all about. Really, the mindset shift here is that it's a service to your audience. So you're giving them that information right off the bat. It's like, why should they watch your reel? What is it all about? What's the payoff? So much of our time these days is being fought for, and people can feel that, so they want to make sure that you honor them in their time. And so that's a way you can think about hooks in a more positive light, but it does help with that retention as well. Andrew, on the other hand, had a very different rhythm and still got the results he was looking for. So Andrew is really drawn to those projects that inspire him, telling stories that showcase what's positive in the world. He does a lot of traveling and he's a really busy guy. So for him, he posts like one larger YouTube video a month. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, but he still was able to see that growth in that way. So I want you to remember that to make your social media sustainable, it's that extension of you and your business. So it needs to fit you and your business. You guys know the drill by now. When we're looking at rhythm, when you're thinking about that in your business, on that scale of 1 to 10, 1, not at all, 2, 10, couldn't be more productive. How productive is your social media's rhythm at the moment? Remember, we're all friends here. We're all supporting each other. We're all in this together, so no judgment. Yes, I see a lot more lower numbers in this one. Yeah. Again, just like structure, it takes a lot of time to get this in place, to feel confident with it. Amazing. Yes. Thank you, everyone. My rhythm is a dancer. I love that, Merrick. That's beautiful. Yeah, it's a dancer, but a dancer that can also be a little bit chaotic too and go off script. I don't know what the dancer version of going off script would be, but yeah. I'm going to pass this over to Javin for a moment here, and he's going to walk you through this question.
Thanks, Sarah. So I'm really curious because when we're learning, the whole point is to take a moment from passive learning and turn it into active. And so we take a break, you take a moment to think, and then you allow yourself to have some anchoring within your education. So my question for you will take 90 seconds again. What's resonating with you? You've heard this far about business essence, you've heard about structure, you've heard about rhythm, you've seen a couple of interesting tips from both Tad and Andrew. What's resonating for you? Where do you see an opportunity to apply the sustainable social media equation to improve your social media? I'm going to put on some music again. We'll take 90 seconds and I'll start to read them off. Thanks, everybody. got some great things coming in here. Merrick, everything is resonating. I found actionable insights from every slide so far. There we go. Yeah. Rosalind, post more, post less, but consistently and with intention. Great. Lisa, as I'm just starting out, chat's going crazy. As I'm just starting out, all of this is great. As a professional planner, transitioning to a full coach, I love process, so the structures are great. Kenton, we rise or fall to our systems. Good to see someone else's. Great. Peter, seems to boil down to deciding and organizing, thoughtfulness and consistency in approach. And for me, more is less is okay. One of the things that a lot of the students and clients that work with Raya is that she gives them permission to work at a laughably low bar, to just work at what feels laughable, like one a month. Great. Let's get consistency and move up from there. So that's great. Lauren, I'm putting in tweaks to my 2026 content planner right now. Lovely. I love seeing action right away. Jenna, structure and rhythm for me need to start making those spreadsheets and plans instead of posting on the fly. Esther, being very discerning and strategic. Do things on purpose. Love it. Eve, everything. Knowing social media as an extension of my life makes it feel less stressful. Isn't that the truth? Pillars, very interesting. I'm reflecting on my own storytelling and inspiring. I love the idea of embracing structure. Thanks, Kim. Thanks, everybody. These are fantastic. If anybody's feeling inspired by somebody else's, yeah, this is a great time to share. So take what you can. Thanks so much, Raya. Back to you.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate all of you engaging with us too, because it's nice for both Java and I not to just sit up here and talk at you as well. It's so lovely to hear how things are going for you. So we really appreciate you taking the time to let us know. And I'm also such a geek about all this too. I love hearing about other people's businesses and processes. So this is wonderful. Okay, the last part of the sustainable social media equation. I can't hide my excitement about this one. Storytelling. This is my favorite part, honestly. I mean, I am a complete nerd about systems and structure too, but storytelling is where the creativity comes in. That's where the artist in us can come out and where the child can come and play. Storytelling is the art of sharing the value you and your business bring into the world. It's about the thrill you have in sharing a truth of your industry that others maybe shy away from, or a heartfelt interaction with, excuse me, losing my voice on storytelling, or a heartfelt interaction with the clients that you want to share with other people, or how your work looks at a current situation in the world, too. I think it's important to feel open and confident to share your viewpoint and be and to lean into your unique point of view, because when you do this, one, it does make the algorithm happy. It does make it easier for social media platforms to put your content in front of people that will align with you and your and what you share. But most importantly, when you share your unique point of view, it helps you find your people. It helps you connect with them on a deeper level, and they feel your realness and your genuine, authentic message. And that's really what we're here for, is to share our unique gifts and share our stories with people. There's, again, a lot of key features on this slide, but what I want to really hone in for you is that storytelling is both an art and a craft. The craft portion and tools and techniques, we develop a content bank, which can help you store all your ideas and your stories in one place. So you're not just posting on social media and then letting your post go into the void. That's a little side note. Make sure you have a folder system so you can save all your content and make sure it's backed up, because if you just post straight onto the platforms, it's not very easy to download your content again, and or download it, I mean, period. So having that backup allows you to repurpose it and also allows you to repost it too, because that's another thing. I just want to tell you guys all the things. So hopefully I'm not overwhelming you. But the other thing I want to mention here is that you don't have to constantly be creating new content all the time. If anyone told you this, that's a complete myth. People don't see all of your content unless they're diehard fans, which I really hope all of you have those wonderful diehard fans, but not everyone's going to see that content because it's just not possible with how the algorithm works and how people see your content. So feel ease and being able to repurpose and repost that content in the future. The other thing I want to mention on this slide is that when you first start sharing your unique point of view and start sharing your business's message, it's going to feel hard. Just like going to the gym, the first couple times you go to the gym, it's hard. It sucks. You don't like it. It's not enjoyable. You wonder why you even made that stupid New Year's resolution anyway. But after a month, after some time, after you put in enough reps in the course, we do talk about doing a 100-day posting schedule where you do post for 100 days. And that is just an exercise if you're feeling really keen, but that just gets you a little bit of a jump start to test out certain ideas, is to put in those reps so you can feel stronger. And when you go to speak about your business to someone by doing that content on social media, it's a lot easier. It's a lot smoother when you go and speak to them and you feel more comfortable when you do it. If I could brag about all of my students, all of my clients, I would, but Javin has me on a timer today. So I'm going to introduce you to Barbara. Barbara is a lovely person who helps women rest deeply using Yoga Nidra. Now, for Barbara, when it came to her storytelling, the moment that really changed for her was when she refined her content pillars. When she did this, she felt more confidence in sharing her business because she had that guide when it came to her her content. So I just want to reiterate again is that content pillars are the categories of content that you pull from. So it's those themes that you pull your topics from. And usually the important thing I like to stress as well with content pillars is that those content pillars need to then help you towards your business goals as well. So if it's showing that client transformation to help with more sales, that is how you can connect a goal to a content pillar. Content pillars are a whole nother topic though that we could spend a lot more time on, but just to give you a little hint to help you in that way. But back to Barbara. So Barbara, she started sharing her content more, following her content pillars, and she noticed something really amazing. For the first time, her audience was starting to save her content. This is something that she hadn't experienced before. So by her doing this and by her getting this positive feedback and having that rhythm of checking in with her audience, she was able to embrace her unique point of view, and it allowed her to feel more confident and comfortable with creating content and to share her gifts and reach her unique, sorry, not unique, her ideal clients who are unique as well. Andrew, on the other hand, so I want to show you another form of how we can use storytelling and kind of combining storytelling and rhythm a little bit here. So Andrew for years has focused on building his YouTube channel, and like we said before, he posts like once a month for his YouTube channel for the longer form pieces. And when you go take a look, you'll understand why, because they're beautiful and the editor does such an exceptional job. And so he had a whole audience that he had wasn't putting enough energy into. He had a whole audience on Instagram that he wasn't allowed, or sorry, not allowed, but he wasn't tapping into. So with Instagram, as you guys probably know, is that you're only able to put up videos that are shorter. So he wasn't able to put on his full long form videos. So what we did with him is that we took one video and we turned it into multiple pieces of content from one video onto Instagram. This is a way that you can repurpose. So that repurposing that I've mentioned a couple of times is that this is a way you can do it. And by doing this, we were able to build his Instagram, which was awesome, and then also feed people back to his YouTube channel. So those shorter videos acted as teasers. They also acted as shorter forms of educational pieces and brought value to another whole set audience. So I want to show you this. This is a content bank. So this is essential to a sustainable social media approach. And this is making sure that you have a place for all your content to go. Now, this is in Canva. You don't have to have it in Canva. You could have it in a Google Drive, on a hard drive, just somewhere where it's safe, because there are going to be moments where you're going to want to reuse your content and repurpose it. So one of the ways, another way you can repurpose is that if you've ever done, say, a podcast or an article or blog newsletter, you can turn that into a carousel, or you can take that idea and speak about it in a reel. And we want to have this storage here because the work you do for your content is important. You spend time on this. And by doing this, you're making sure that your valuable pieces aren't lost. And you can keep track of everything. So this comes back to structure as well. All right. When you think about your storytelling, 1 barely sounds like your business, or 10 feels true, grounded, and recognizable, even if it's still evolving. How well does your business storytelling reflect who you are and who you're here to help? On that scale of 1 to 10, let us know. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Okay. There's a lot of 7s. Wonderful. Great. I'm very happy to hear that it seems like the majority of you are feeling on the slightly higher end. That's wonderful. Very good. Yep. And totally take time. You may not have the answer to this right now, too. So definitely take that time to meditate on it, sit with it. That's why we've given you that downloadable worksheet too, so you can take time with these questions and really get to the bottom of them. All right, we've talked about a lot of things here, and I want to just bring you and ground you back into the sustainable social media equation. So we started with business essence. That's knowing your why, services, offerings, your message, where your business is going. Is it a short-term thing? Is it a long-term business? And then we have structure. So it's being held by your efforts and making sure that your next step by step is supported and is supporting your rhythm when you're going into your workflows. And that you're able to have storytelling and speak your unique point of view and connect with the right people too. It's better for you to get more honed in on who you are and who you offer, or sorry, what you offer, instead of trying to please more people, because it just will help you. Losing my mind a little bit, but basically what I'm trying to say is that people will be able to connect with you more when you hone in on your message more. And that's important to keeping your social media sustainable, because part of it is that we want to enjoy ourselves too. We've got a lot to do in our life. We've got a lot to do in our business, and we want to make sure that we are doing something we love. We want to make sure that we're bringing the business that lights our souls on fire, and that bring that passion and brings that inspiration and that help to other people. All right, I'm going to pass this back over to Javin, and he's going to walk you through this question here.
Thanks, Ray. So if you've been working on the worksheet, or if you've just been putting down your numbers, we're going to add them up. So we're going to add up business essence, we're going to add up structure, rhythm, storytelling. So out of 40, what's your sustainable social media assessment total? Going to take a moment to put that into the chat. Might take a moment to do a little math. But looking back on it, what is the total that you have from adding up all 4? So we've got a 9, a 23, a 10, a 15, 3, as Raya likes to say, no wrong answers. This is a snapshot. It's like taking blood pressure test. We're just getting a sense of where we're at to understand where we may want to put more effort. That's what I talked about at the beginning, understanding that next step post webinar, where you want to put your effort. This is a great way to take a pulse on where you're at. Fantastic, everybody. Lovely. Okay, great. Right, I'm just going to get you to stop share here as I go into the next question. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Okay. So understanding where you're at, super important, but also understanding where you want to go helps us to envision what the next steps are. So this next question, again, we're going to take 90 seconds, contemplate this conversation, take the passive education to active, and now we're taking it into the future. So this is a possibility question. We're trying to get a sense of what the future might hold for us. So the question is this: imagine a future where your social media is sustainable. Who would you and your business be? What's possible in that future? Or how could you better serve the people you want to help if your social media was sustainable? So questions in the chat there. I'm going to put up 90 seconds. Take some time to think about it. This is where we start to coalesce all of our conversations, all of our thinking process. We really want to take a moment to consider what and why would sustainable social media be important to us. Take 90 seconds. And as I start to see what people have written, I'll read them out. Great. So we got a few ones coming in. To find a balance between serving and earning a living. Be able to grow conversations and nurture connections. Thanks, Brianna. Esther, more time and energy to focus what's important to me. Catherine, I would help people find me in my art. Lovely. Peter, A, I would do it in the first place, and B, people would be educated, inspired, and would find joy in doing the education and the inspiring instead of the current dread. Would also see tangible email list growth. Yes, that's one of the major outcomes a lot of people have, and Rise a deft hand at helping. Joy could feel more grounded in the social media realm, support my ideal clients to find my work. Agreed. Jelena, wonderful name. I wouldn't be scrambling to post out what to post, but would it result in more consistent posts, topic story-wise and style-wise, which would increase my audience confidence in me and my business. Thanks, Jelena. Kim, I feel that being an integrated part of the business and part of the workflow, when it's integrated, the overwhelm of initial creation diminishes. Yeah. Melissa, I would have curated and organized content to send to others and support them, generating new lead generation. Absolutely. Lisa, would have a healthy following of people who are doing more values-aligned work, living more values-aligned lives, volunteering more. We do more of my time to work with my community. This is excellent. Thank you, everybody. Connecting and communicating, more impactful and resourceful. My reach would be further and I'd have a larger email list. Yeah, so a lot of reach I'm seeing. Thanks so much, everybody. Raya, I'll let you close out the conversation here.
Sounds great. Thank you all so much. It's so great to see what you're all striving toward, and they're all beautiful goals. I love that. If I had a magic wand, I would just make it all so. All right. After this webinar today, I really hope that you'll be able to implement at least one idea or one action. If you can do a couple more, I hope you're able to write down a couple other pieces. But remember, just keep your next action steps obtainable, laughably low, because it's very easy to walk away from something like this and have a sheet of 20 things that you might want to do. But keep it simple and maybe just focus on one. Also, friendly reminder to download the self-assessment that I made for you guys. We're going to put in the chat again for you to be able to make that copy for yourself. And then maybe take some time to rewatch the webinar. We are going to email it to you after today. So take some time to soak in the information, because when we read something or watch something for the second time, we really get a lot out of it the second round. The other thing I want to mention is please don't be a stranger. If you try any of these concepts or any of these ideas from today, I'd love to hear how you're doing. Feel free to tag me on Instagram or send me a direct message. I'd be happy to see what you guys are up to. And you'll see my handle is there, Meryl Marketing. The other thing is that if you walk away from today and managing your own social media just feels a little too overwhelming, a little too much, you need some guidance, I offer a bi-weekly newsletter that will be launching in February, so very soon in the next couple of weeks. And you can sign up to this via my website. I also have full social media managing services as well as website design. But if you have a tighter budget and you want just a little bit of more guidance, like having someone to look at your current situation, do an evaluation and an audit, and then help point you in the right direction, I also offer one-on-one consultations as well. And this can really help you just narrow down where you should set your compass to. So I just want to end off by saying thank you all so much for being here. And thank you all for being active in the chat. It's wonderful to hear from you. And it honestly was just such a pleasure to be here with all of you today. And I'm just so happy that we have this. It feels like a little bit of a rebellion. So making social media work for you and making social media sustainable and feel good again, because there are so many people here today who are doing incredible work and want to serve their audience in a loving and beautiful way. And I just want to salute to all of you for that, because that also takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to put yourself online and in front of tons of people, but there are so many people out there who will benefit from your unique gifts. And I just send all the courage to you to feel like you can share what you have to share with the world. So thank you all so much for being here. I'm excited to answer your questions.
Thanks, Raya. If everybody wants to give Raya incredible digital chat applause, thank you, appreciation, now is a fantastic time. People are already working in their gratitude and their thanks to you, Raya. Thank you so much for the time you spent with us today. But, working with land, working with animals, we know that it's not the milk that matters from the cow, it's chewing the cud. It's doing all the hard work. And you've done that for 6 years. And so being able to have spent 6 years in dedication to this work, working out the systems, the processes, doing it at a high level and doing it at a level that has a lot of heart to it, has a lot of ethic to it. People have been talking about working in aligned values, and you do that and you model that in such wonderful ways. So yeah, thank you very much. All right, folks, we're at that point of time in the conversation where I'm going to go a little bit into the upcoming course. So if this is not for you and you want to check out for a bit and come back for Q&A, you're totally welcome to. If you have questions for Raya, make sure to put them down in the Q&A. I saw a few people putting some things in the chat, but quickly put it over to the Q&A, so that's great. Raya will start to go through and answer questions while I'm going through a bit of the course conversation. We'll also have a chance to see a few more case studies and examples as I go into the course to explain where people were at, what they were doing, etc. So there could be some value there. And soon after that, we'll pivot. We'll transition again. I'm gonna ask you for that bit of help that I asked for at the beginning of the workshop, the webinar, and then we'll go into Q&A. Also, Raya has said that she's willing to stay on a little later. So if anybody's looking for bonus time, a little one-on-one with Raya, she is going to stay a little bit later. Such a generous gift. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the Sustainable Social Media course, because there is so much here to talk about. There's an incredible amount of value for those of you that are in a place where you don't want to be struggling anymore. You want guided help. You want an incredible container to hold you well, and you want to do it with a bunch of people who are awesome. I'm just going to leave it there. The course that we ran last year, we had an incredible group of folks who all came to support each other, all came to help each other. So my curiosity here is, before we wrap up, and I want to pause for this moment to talk a little bit about what comes next. And if you take one idea away from today, fantastic. That means the time will be worth it. And we hope that's the case for you, because the point of doing these webinars is to absolutely connect with people about the course, but also to give back. There's so much of this work that is in a generosity and a reciprocal aspect. And Raya loves to do this and share. And I think a big part of that is because the struggle with social media is real. There's a renegotiation, there's a battle. Should I even be doing this? Does this make any sense to continue? And most people fail at social media not because they're bad at it. They fail because it starts to slowly pull their attention and their confidence. People second guess what they say. They wonder if they're behind. And over time, that drag builds. As Rye was talking about the choppy oceans of social media, it's kind of like trying to swim fully clothed. Like if you don't know how to streamline yourself, there's an incredible amount of drag. And when social media doesn't have a container, when do we do it? How do we do it? Why do we do it? It leaks. It leaks into our evenings, our weekends. It leaks into our family time, our self-care time, into that low grade feeling of, oh, I should be doing more. Even when you care deeply about your work and who you're helping, the platforms themselves, the way that they're structured, can start to drain you. And this is what Rise found with her clients. It's about putting up guardrails, riverbanks to help people find what they need into social media and exit. It goes back to that quote, the Andrew Huberman quote: take your life and then take it into a broadcast mode, but don't bring social media into your life on a daily basis without intent. What most people want isn't more tactics or trends. They want social media to be calm, a low friction expression of work that they're doing, not a reoccurring battle or fight. And that's where sustainable social media comes in. Your business essence, your DNA, who you are, who you help, what's the core, what's the aspect, what's the heart of what you do, the structure. So things don't fall apart. Everything's held well, that container, the rhythm, a consistency that fits and is created by you in your real life. You're not trying to perform to somebody else's rhythm. If anybody else looked at Tad's posting schedule and had a minor heart attack or an anxiety, that's me. If anybody wants to give me an amen in the chat, that'd be great. I will never do that. That's not my jam. But it shows the boundary conditions. It shows what some folks do, what other folks are doing. I don't know why, but the music decided to start up. We're going to pause that. And with your storytelling, it's about helping people understand who you are, how you help them, and the solutions on the other side of your work. How do people find their way there? The course is for people who want to be visible without turning themselves into a brand or a person they don't recognize. And it's really not about chasing virality. I'll show you guys in a second. It's about building something that you can not only live with, but thrive with. And boy, did our students thrive. I can't say thank you enough. This has been an incredible course. Thank you both for all your brilliance and the energy you put into the creation of it. From Elena. Alexis, yeah, I haven't heard the word viral one time. And that's what so many people focus on. Absolutely amazing. From Nicole, big thumbs up to the resources. You have offered a strategic, sustainable, practical, and kind approach. One of the things I love about Raya is how much kindness she brings to this. We have to be kind to ourselves, kind to our businesses, so that way we can share. And there's an honesty around the process of this development. I just want to say that what Van said at the bottom right, the idea that we need to do this 100 times before we can learn all we need to know is so helpful. In terms of rhythm, there's a repetition here, and that 100 times is going to come up one more time before we finish. Also, tuning in every Saturday was such a joy. When was the last time you took a course and it was just a joy to be present to? We convene as a group to gather around this campfire of social media and to help each other. The group is so self-supportive, and Ryan and I do our utmost to make sure everyone is well held. We have a WhatsApp group so students can connect with learning buddies and continue on to share ideas about content pillars. Here, I'm thinking about this. Does this color scheme match what I'm doing? And that's the wisdom of the group. We all sit around the tree offering what we know to learn and grow with each other through this process. So we built this complete container. We have 6 core modules that'll take you from clarity to execution It mirrors the equation. The lessons from experience with clients for Raya has now been translated into a step-by-step do it with us. And it's a system you can return to as your work and your life evolves. So it's bespoke to you and organically moves and changes with you. If you get a chance to take a look at some of the video testimonials at the bottom of the landing page, a lot of people talked about how it was so organic and it felt like an extension of them by the end of the course. Support is where most courses quietly or sometimes loudly fall apart. You had a question that doesn't fit the video, you overthink, you stall. Not this course. These live sessions we work with are not only Q&A, they're gathering points. We get into small groups, we do good discussions, you get a chance to interview each other, you get to sense a chance to deepen your connection with each other. And in doing so, you end up with a group of friends. And as folks have said, it's a really joyful experience. So the connection here is what matters. It helps us to decide what to do, when to do, what not to do, and it's real support. So most people, and this may be you, again, if this is you, feel free to put duct tape in the chat. Most people duct tape their social media. A little bit of this, a little bit of that kind of makes sense. And it's all over the place. What I love about Raya is because of her experience, she's been able to build a system that anyone can follow, can go step by step, go through the conversation, and it's repeatable. Not only is she repeated with high-level clients, she's repeating with people who have started with nothing, people who have never touched social media, but go, I want to step into it. And they have still seen results by applying this process. So the social media hub, the templates, the trackers, this creates less friction. So that way you have fewer decisions to make. So that way you have more follow through. And here's a great example. We've got the social media hub, the account research, content inventory, social media glossary, skill assessment. And for those of you that love Google documents, that's great. Noah is a Notion goddess in disguise. She loves Notion. If you're new to Notion, she will guide you onto the path of great organization with that tool. Not to mention there's creative support. So if you're brand new, you're thinking, I don't even know where to start. She has an entire guide to content ideas and prompts. She has a social media glossary and anatomy. We do not assume you know anything. Everything is up for grabs for explanation. Not to mention, you may not even know how to take a photo. How do we start to take a photo list and how do we create that? That's also taken care of for you. All in all, 12 hours of live sessions, 7.5 hours of co-working. So in between the live sessions, Raya hosts a co-working space. The live sessions are 2 hours long. The co-working spaces are an hour and a half, and you're just there to work. Come and work with somebody else. The research, not to mention our own experience, we know this. If we're working with somebody else, we actually do the work. We don't go off onto YouTube. We don't go off into Instagram unless we're posting there, and we help keep each other accountable. So 7.5 hours of co-working. There's 13 hours of video lessons that are already pre-made for those of you that are registering today. You already have material to start working with, including the workbooks and over 30 plus curated resources. And Raya actually added something new today. She can't help herself. She continues to improve everything within this course. So for this, in terms of value, the core training, the 6 modules, pre-recorded lessons, roughly 1,100 in terms of the value. The live support and collaboration is over 1,300 all said and done, including the WhatsApp community and the workbooks. That creative support, almost $300 of value. Total value, $3,746. It's incredible how much Raya has fit into this course. She basically took the idea of how do I make a Tad, how do I make an Andrew, and put it into this course for individuals that potentially, they got a lower budget. They can't work with Raya one-on-one. We hear the same thing time and again from students who are completing the course. They say, we didn't learn new tricks. They say, we finally stopped forcing this approach into something that didn't fit them or their business. And they say that they know what they're doing each week. They have more clarity and they no longer feel consistently behind. They have a momentum. Even if it's once a month, like Andrew, they have a momentum. There's a pace. So everything you've seen here today lives inside the course. There's no upsell when you go to it. There's no hidden tiers. It's just the full system plus a year of access. So the total value of the course, $3,746. We're offering at a regular price of just $849. That's 4 times the value for the price. Not to mention you have that system once built that works for you forever. But we're going to do it a little bit better until Sunday, February 15th, 2026. So that's roughly a week and a few days. The pre-launch price is just $5.99. That's a sixth of the value. And the research is very clear. A mistake on social media, your first mistake on social media, somewhere between $400 and $600 in terms of operational cost, opportunistic cost, or having to redo something that takes time and energy. So for the price of your first mistake, you can save hundreds of mistakes. In values-based decision making, we talk about how one decision can make thousands decisions or can make a million decisions, and that's this. This course helps you to ensure you do not make a mistake in social media and that the mistakes are made in group. We all make mistakes. Well, we usually learn from others, and so we don't do it as publicly. And now we're so confident in this course. We've already had an incredible group of people who've come through it. We have the no to grow guarantee. What's that? Well, as we talked about that 100 posts previously, if you go through the course, go through the workbooks, attend the live sessions, and you post for 100 days and you see zero growth, not only will I refund you the price you paid for the course, but I'll give you $100 out of my pocket. I won't take it from Raya. I'll give it to you. Why do I say that? Because I am 100% convinced there is no way to fail with this. You walk through the process, you walk through the conversation, you apply it, and you will see results, period. So again, that pre-launch pricing is for a limited time. There's no pressure there, but within a week and a half, it'll move up to its regular price. So if you are keen, now is a great time to jump in. Again, that regular price, $849, the pre-launch price at $599. So if you are keen, definitely jump over to the course. We'd love to help you. We'd love to see you in the course and be present to all the growth and conversations that you're working in. It'd be fantastic to see you there. If you do have any questions about the course, feel free to put it into the Q&A. I'm happy to address those first and foremost. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for spending the time to listen about the course. We think it's incredible. We're very proud of it, and the students have loved it. There's tons of testimonials on that landing page. And if you're thinking about signing up and you think you got a week and a half, I would just remind you that life happens. I don't know how many times I've forgotten that I need to pay the electrical bill in the last 72 hours, many times, but life happens. You're thinking about something else and you miss the opportunity. So my suggestion to you is, if this is the right time, if you don't want to make any more mistakes on social media, if you want to have a structure and a rhythm, if you want to be in a group of people who are fantastic, sign up for the course in the next 3 days. Put it in your calendar, make sure it's there. Do yourself the favor to commit completely, so that way you just walk through the rest of the material together. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for the conversation there. I so appreciate the time. Beautifully hosted. Thanks, Javin. Catherine, what a pleasure. What time on Saturday are the sessions? Yeah, so the sessions start at Raya, what time do the sessions start? Do they start at, it's 1 p.m. Eastern. I know that. So 1 p.m. Eastern is 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Pacific. Yeah.
Pacific,
Exactly.
yeah.
Took me a moment there.
Always doing the math.
Great question. Great. You're EST.
Also,
okay.
No, I was just going to say, Lisa, looks like you asked, is it in USD? And that is correct.
Yeah.
Yes, it is USD pricing.
Fantastic. Thanks, everybody. Okay. So remember how I asked you guys for a little help at the beginning of the time together here? Before we move into Q&A, I just want to, again, ask everybody for a little bit of help. These types of surveys help us so incredibly much. It helps us to create and converse. It helps us to move forward. And so what I'd like for you to do is to take a little moment here, help us with the Q&A, or help us with the survey, give us some feedback, help us to understand what you loved about this workshop webinar. So I'm going to put that in there, and I'm just going to go over it with everybody here for a quick second. So when you go to that link, you're going to come to the survey. It's a very short survey. It's between 1 and 3 minutes long. Put in your email. That's pretty common. Put in your name. So we've got that. First and foremost, how would you rate your overall experience at today's Sustainable Social Media webinar? 10, excellent, fantastic. 1, not so great. Then what was the most valuable insight from today? Or what's your key takeaways, ahas? Love to get that in there. Are you planning on enrolling in the course? We'd love to know. Definitely signing up, not enrolling, but interested, not enrolling at all. And if you're not enrolling right now, why? We'd just like to know that. Again, everyone is creating their lives and their experiences, and this helps us with that feedback. And then finally, if you have anything else you'd like to tell us right there. So again, I'm going to throw on some music. If everybody could just take a moment, everybody who said that they were going to help us lean in and help us here, that's so appreciative. Just take a moment there, and I'm going to put on a little bit of music. And if everybody could take a moment there, I'm just going to watch live. Oh, I put on the punk rock music. We'll put on the chill thinking music instead of the punk rock. But thanks so much, everybody, for taking the time to do that. I so appreciate it. Such a help for us. Just going to take a drink of water where everybody's doing that. Ah, we already got one response. Thank you. Two responses, three responses. Thanks, everybody. This is great. We got six. We got six respondents. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate that. I'm going to take one more minute here. Thanks so much for taking the time. We so appreciate it. Eight folks. Great. Thanks, everybody. Anybody else is feeling courageous and able to help us out with the survey, that'd be great. $13, fantastic. Wow. Thanks, Jenny. Great to have you here. Thanks, Karen. Thanks so much for everybody's thanks. All right. Just going to spend another 20, 30 seconds, and then we'll get into Q&A. If you do have more Q&A, we're going to high grade all of the questions about the course, and then we will move into Q&A. Annalie. Thanks, Lynn. Awesome. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate the survey. If you get a chance to do it later, if you don't have enough time today, that's totally fine. So just going to share a little bit here. Going to share my screen and go through a couple of more details about the course. So here we are on the landing page. Just going to make that a little bit bigger. So we've got a lot of great testimonials, great opportunities to understand if this is a good fit for you. Folks who are sharing how they were able to move so quickly, and the before and after being very quite different for a lot of people. Talking a little bit about what conventional social media focuses on and what sustainable social media focuses on. So there'll be those elements there. Of course, we've got Tad as a great champion of Raya's work. And the expected results, this is excellent. So one of the things you can expect in terms of the expected results in the course, you can understand how to create your content bank, have a clear brand identity, build a supportive community around your work, understand how to use social media, understand it as a tool, know your systems. But not only that, post-course, what can you expect? Well, if you apply the course, you can start to build that content bank within a month, within 3, implement the sustainable strategy and start to see initial engagement. So this is how people are liking, saving, engaging, similar to what Barbara talked about in her testimonial. In 1 year, we can establish a self-sustaining social media system. So on average, Raya was talking about, a year to 2 is really where you start to get that self-sustaining. So there's definitely a big learning curve at the beginning. And then over about a year, we start to taper off. And there's social media managers, virtual assistants who have been sent to the course. individuals who are just saying, oh, I can't do it, but I'm going to send somebody else to do the work for me. And again, that equation, we always come back to that equation. It's that simple thing, back of the pocket, you can always back of the napkin, back pocket, come back to. This is an incredible series of slides just about what happens if we're missing one. So if we miss structure, it ends up as hollow social media. If we miss, or pardon me, business essence, if we miss structure, that's when we get overwhelming. If we miss rhythm, it can feel flighty or intermittent. And if we miss storytelling, it's forgettable. It looks like everything else. So these are great to remind yourself if you're missing an element. Lots of incredible people from all over the world who've been taking the course thus far. The structure, so what you can see in it. How much time do you need to be in the course? So roughly 10 hours. 10 hours a week is generally what we set out to have a high level engagement. 5 hours is sort of a mid-level engagement, but you can get a huge amount in such a short amount of time as well. Then we have the value stack. So you can see all that again if you're keen. Of course, Andrew talking about that he strongly recommends working with Raya to meet the marketing needs. And I like showing Andrew's example because we have to update his numbers almost daily. I made this yesterday or the day before, and he was at 702 on YouTube. Now he's at 703. So the strategies work in real time and they do compound very quickly. So here's the logistics for everybody who is asking. So we've got 6 live Zoom calls on Saturdays. Sessions are an hour and a half to 2 hours. They start at 10 a.m. Pacific or 1 p.m. Eastern. All the dates are there. We also have the co-working sessions. They start at the same time, but they're a little shorter. I think I saw that question. And then the regular pricing we can see there. Other folks, we can also see the course modules, so the elements within the course itself. Yes, Samantha, you do have access. You have a full year of access. So at the end of the course, the final session, which I think is on May 17th, you'll have until May 17th, 2027. Another client who's worked with Raya there, amazing photographer out of Hollywood, who it's a good fit for, which I think is an important piece there. And just that, this course is about understanding a very complex game, which is now seeming very simple, but in a way that feels joyful. Course requirements. So this is important as well. Having Canva, the free plan is available and you can work with it. There's basically free plans for basically everything. And then having either a phone or a computer is useful. And then also subtitles if you decide to do videos and you need to caption. We get into all the different templates that are offered in the course. Denise talking about how you have all the necessary elements. There's the lovely Raya talking a little bit about her background. There's a quick thing about that guy. And then we've got these great videos at the bottom that go into detail about what it was like to be part of the course. And then a bunch of frequently asked questions. So it's a non-refundable course. You'll have access for 1 year. You can have a partner who's inside your house. We don't allow double logins, but if you've got a partner, if you've got a business partner who wants to come over and take the course with you, totally fine. If you're part of a team and you want to come together on one computer, that's totally fine. Is it set up for a total newbie? 100% set up for a newbie. Will the course help me to select what platform to start with? 100%. Raya goes into all the different platforms, talks about their moods, their characteristics. Everybody has a bit of a different feeling to each one. Talking about what's the minimal system for posting. So I think I saw a question like that in the Q&A. So whoever that was, definitely take a look at the Q&A. How will AI change social media? So we offer a module on AI to talk about how to work with it, how to use it as an asset for ideation, how to be conscientious not to allow the verbiage that comes out of AI to be the verbiage your clients and your potential audience see. It's very disconcerting. We're seeing a lot of people turn off from AI speak. And talking about growth and then live session, it's still a good fit for me. Absolutely. So pretty much everybody misses at least one class or something else going on. And so there's the replays, but also we have a static Q&A. So if you're watching through the videos and you have a question, you can put that into the Q&A and then have Raya answer that question live and come back to it afterwards. So just another great conversation. If you're ready to start the stopping and starting of social media, ready to put it into good effect, this is a great time to do it. So hopefully we've answered most of those questions, right? I'm just going to pop into the Q&A here and see if there's anything else. Oh, lots more. Thanks,
There
everybody.
is.
Um,
Yeah,
okay, I'm just going to
there's lots of
quickly
questions.
scroll down and see if there's any course questions. It's so affordable already, but is there a payment plan? Yes, indeed. If you're looking for a payment plan, feel free to reach out to me. Payment plans are normally 10% more because it takes a little bit of effort to set it up and connect with it. But yes, if you need a payment plan, feel free to reach out to me. Javin at allpointsdesign.ca. And Ryan, if you wouldn't mind putting that into the chat as I go through the rest of these, that'd be great. Okay. I think that's about it. Thanks, everybody. So for the diehards who are still here, the 39 wondrous super participants that should all be given capes. Raya, let's start with the very first question. You want me to read it out for you there, Raya?
Yes, please. Yeah, I get a
Yeah.
little bit lost in the
Yeah,
sauce.
totally.
Thanks.
So first question from Lisa Moffat. I'm just
Yeah.
starting my coaching business again under a new name, Dandelion Coaching. I love that. I love dandelions. I help people live more value aligned lives so they can have greater impact to address the wicked problems of the world, e.g., reconciliation, anti racism, climate action, housing attainability, etc. I currently don't have a social media presence. However, I do have a series of posts drafted. I'm curious about ways to build a following. How do you build a following, right?
I love this question, Lisa, and thank you so much for asking it. I wanted to address this one out loud because I feel like I would have taken too long to type back to you anyway. But with this, it really does come down to that consistency. So, really, if you're able to, ideally, in an ideal world, I usually recommend posting 3 times a week because it typically has that good rhythm that you can hit. And also, it's good for the audience too, because it's frequent enough where you're still mostly top of mind, but then it's also not every single day where you're pulling your hair out. So I would start with trying to do that. But I think when you're really trying to grow, finding whatever consistency you can is important and trying to make it weekly if you can. I do wince because some people are like, I can only post like once or twice a month. If that is your low bar that you can, or even that high bar that you can achieve, go for that. And the other thing I want to say here is that if you really are trying to grow, doing it weekly is going to help you with that more. So I hope that answers your question. Let me know if you have a follow up.
Thanks, Raya. Um, and how many posts might attract new followers? I think we've answered that already.
Yeah. And fair
Jillian,
enough about feeling funny about like following people who don't have very much content. It that is something for you to keep in mind too. So try your best to post a couple times a week. Sorry, go ahead, Jevin.
no, great. Thanks for the follow up. Jelena, how do you apply storytelling to a product based business? We don't have new products to introduce all the time.
That's okay. Don't feel like you have to introduce your products over time. This is when you get a little bit more creative when it comes to products, is because you want to think about it in a 360 view of this product. So, what's the story of this product? You can kind of play with this and think about this in a storytelling way, like even bringing in the classic stories of like Cinderella or uh trying to think of other ones like Sleeping Beauty, like those types of stories you can bring in even to your products. And like, so what is that product story along the way? So it's finding you do get a little bit more creative. I find service providers have it a little bit easier because they have more they can talk about, but really you want to find ways to humanize and bring in the product into someone's everyday life. That's the other key I wanted to say, is that find ways to put it into someone else's into their life where they can picture it. So it can be like an advertisement of someone getting ready for the day. They pick up your products, they put it on their face or whatever the product is, they interact with the product and then they continue on their day, and make it as seamless as possible. And you want to show it a little bit, but you don't want to overshow it. So it's just kind of making it look really seamless depending on what your product is. If you're listening now and you can just swap it into the chat quickly, I can give some maybe more exact tips on that. But it's it's showing your audience how they can use it. Handcrafted jewelry. Oh, amazing. Yeah. So getting ready for the day is that's a good one. Going out with your friends and being out with your friends. So like this is where influencers do come in, but you can grab a friend of yours and be like, "Hey, can you please put on this jewelry and put on your bag and walk out the door?" Like there's just certain things that you can do showing someone with the product in everyday settings. So normalizing it and just making it that heightened part of their day.
Thanks so much, Raya. I'm also remembering this was a question that came up in the previous
Yes.
class, and a couple of things that you brought up, which I love, which you said today, which was having it integrated into daily life and seeing people go about daily life or go into situations where it becomes the star. So the product is the star and
Yeah.
it's going through the experience. What problem it quietly removes over time was something else you talked about, if it's jewelry,
Mm-hmm.
it's about, expression or being seen or having that conversation of, wearing your style or your structure on your sleeve. Um, the other thing I think in terms of this, it's like maintenance, care, wear, patina improvements over time, or seeing the process of it being created,
Yeah.
or what's the thinking or the values that go into it. Those are some of the other things that you brought up previously, and like who's it for? What kind of person chooses this over that? And what are the values being expressed by it was something that I think you really brought to the class. So I think there's a lot there that yeah, was useful from previous conversations.
Thank you,
From
Jeff. You have a better memory than I do.
It's all good. Peter, any tips on how to begin creating discerning content pillars?
A great question. Yes, there's a lot of these questions here that I wanted to make sure I answered live here too, because it does have a little bit of nuance. So, Peter, if you are listening, could you please put in your business in the chat? Otherwise, what I'd say is that when it comes to content pillars, you can use the generic ones to kind of start your thought process from. So when you're thinking about content pillars, it's typically 1 to 5. And thank you, Peter. I'll just read this quick. Coach on building a life that works for them. Lovely. Good on you. I love that. Okay. So coming back to, so content pillars are 1 to 5. And typically you want ones where you show that, like for you, for being a coach, you want to show that journey of where someone starts and then what that process looks like and then what that end result is. So you want to show the island A of where they're starting and the island B and a little bit of how they can get there. And that space, a piece in the middle is the little tools that you're going to give people. So when you're a coach, you want to give some mindset shifts because that shows your audience how you're different and your unique point of view. There are a lot of coaches out there, a lot of coaches who are doing incredible work. So you really want to discern how you're different and make that very clear and also show your personality as well because when you're working with someone, it's important to it's important to have that feel for what they're going to be like. And you want to, it's kind of similar to the products, actually. You want to show what coaching looks like in their life. So, coming back to content pillars, it was a bit of a tangent, but you want to have that education piece. So, that piece speaking about maybe what you like the mindset shifts that they need to have or what coaching does for people, some tools that they can take away. Some other things is that you want to maybe show client journeys as well. So, like testimonials and use that in a story format. So, you can have the mindset shift as a pillar, you can have mindset shifts and tools, I would say. And then maybe you can have the client journey, that story. And then let's see. And then speak about maybe you can have your own story as well. Like if you are specifically talking about introverts, I'm guessing that maybe you're an introvert yourself. So you can speak about your own life experiences and what brought you to this point too. And that's going to show your credibility and that's going to help with the conversions as well. So I hope that helps with a couple of ideas there for you. But yeah, just take a look at some other coaches too and see if you can figure out what their content pillars are. What do they constantly seem to be talking about, and see what things you want to take away from that, or what things don't work from you but make you think about something else. Okay.
Thanks, Raya. Peter, the
Problem.
other thing that we
Yeah.
talk about a lot in the course is essence language. So if your if your general audience is introverts, what's the language of the introvert? So if you're working on
Mhm.
coaching introverts for building a life that works for them, anything around quiet clarity, like where is clarity found in quietness? Where is clarity found in stillness? That idea of energy economics, introverts generally they've got a sense um, of energy efficiency. So, doing little for a
Yeah.
lot. And I think the idea of like real lives, not optimized lives, makes a lot of sense because so much of this is about being true and real to what's going on. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what you do if you decide to put that into practice. Eve, as a virtual assistant, what advice would you share about brainstorming for content ideas and building a sustainable brand online?
Ooh, yes, Eve. There are actually a lot of virtual assistants out there who are doing this, which I think is fantastic. What's so good about you doing this is that it's going to show, and how I want you to think about it is that it's a way for your potential clients to check you out from a distance without having to have that risk factor. So it's without having to pay for your time or even go on a call with you, reach out to you in some way. They're able to just look at your profile and see what they can kind of expect. So I would really think about your audience and what those pain points they are dealing with are when it comes to your content. You can really play with this. Find things that really light you up. If you're really all about systems and you're a systems geek like me, then you might want to show what the before and after looks like for a client. It's like you can show the like let's see, like the chaos and then the organize and neatness after. So there's ways you can do it there. Or if systems aren't really your thing, if you want to focus on maybe more business coaching kind of view, so you want to share with them, hey, if you want to build your business in a XYZ kind of way, then this tool or this technique that I use with my clients would be helpful for you. So you need to really play with what you're most attracted to and what you lean in towards when you think about types of content and what you have to share. For me to really get like I give you really explicit details on like how you can create content. I would need to chat with you to have more things that I can share with you, but it is figuring out what content first feels easy. What problems do your clients come to you with that you wish you could tell them? Like there might be moments where they ask you questions and you lean into it and you're like, "Oh, let me tell you, like this is how I can make it better for you." Or certain topics that they come up with that they're having issues with where you want to say, I have the perfect solve for that. This is my moment to shine. So it's finding those moments and thinking about the whole process of what you offer and what they're struggling with most. Javin, do you have any other ideas?
Yeah, I think as when you're working with as a virtual assistant and you're working with a product or you're working with a company, um, increasing the amount of curiosity in terms of why did that company create that product or service? If they are not getting client feedback or customer feedback, starting to create that and have those conversations, you get an incredible array of information about why something is valuable by getting that client use and feedback. Working with Andrew was interesting because uh, we were taking a look at potentially creating a Patreon for him. And so I took his top 10 videos, I scraped all the comments, and from there I was able to high grade with a little bit of machine learning. What are people asking for? Where are they wanting to go deeper? And within that, we were able to create an offering within the Patreon that specifically addressed what people were looking for. So diving into customer use, feedback conversations, commenting conversations, that produces a huge amount. And then in terms of brainstorming for ideas, if you're the one going to be doing the work, what do you like to do? Like, do you like making reels? Do you like making carousels? Do you like leading people through a story? Do you like playing with hooks? If you're going to do it full time as work, you should find your own approach and conversation, visual language that makes you excited, because work takes work. So we need to find good ways to do it. But it's a great question. From Kenton.
Mm.
Hi, Raya. I've been building my Google spreadsheets rather intuitively, and they've been doing great for me. But I'm also a lover of systems and really enjoy seeing other systems for success. Could you show a breakdown of one of your spreadsheet systems and give a couple tips of what that kind of system optimizes?
Ooh, yes. Yeah. I mean, I did show that one, but I can also show you, I could show you a Notion one if that's interesting to you. But you did say you work with Google Sheets the most. So sure, yeah. Let me see which one I could show you.
And if not, right, maybe just talk through it
Yeah,
in terms of like
I
how
may
it
not.
works.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Javed. Because I was just gonna say, like, because it does have client information in it too that I want to keep private for them because that's important. So what I can share with you is, especially when you're creating your social media hub, you want to have a space to have your ideas. So it's coming back to that slide that we talked about in the structure. So that social media hub, you want to ensure that you have a spot that you can put your ideas always. And so putting them all there, you can track what idea needs to be created into a piece of content, what has already been posted, and what can be reposted. You also want to have separate sheets for each of these. Then you want to have a section where you can have all of your content. So do maybe a bit of an audit of the content that you've created already. And then I would recommend putting them into separate sheets for ones that it can be based on content pillars or content type. So if you've done a bunch of videos, put them all there. If you've done a bunch of blog posts, put all the links to those in another sheet. Find ways to break it down for you that keeps it all super clear and easy for you to find. Then you also want to have that content calendar as well, because that will help you keep track of the content when to post something, but also you can put in tasks for that day too. So just looking at a week, just to keep it simple, if you say every Tuesday you work on your content, so you create your content, you can put that into that calendar. And then maybe every Thursday you schedule everything, schedule all your content. So you also put that note in your calendar. And then on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, that's when your content goes out. So play around with your schedule and make it work for you in that way. And not sure if there's anything else there, Devin. Do you have any other ideas too? Or any thoughts that came
Yeah,
up?
I think one of the things you talk about a lot is like walk through the process of doing and brainstorming and filming or writing or creating the copy or the visuals, to the point of like, okay, I finished that. Maybe it's in Canva. Okay, now that's going to go to my content bank. So you're always banking before you're posting. But taking the whole life cycle of a post or a conversation, then turning that into a checklist. So that way you always know what you're supposed to do. And then the second thing I really like about the templates you've created was the brainstorming conversation about bringing in the piece of like when and playing with it, experimenting. When's the best time to brainstorm? When can I work with it the best? Who do I brainstorm with that helps? What we have an entire template about like-minded companies or just companies you enjoy the social media that they produce. What then is emulation? So much of social media is taking something that works and copying the style, the conversation. It's what we do as kids, right? We try on everybody's personalities and sometimes voice inflections, and then we find our own voice. And one of the things that Sarah Yu has put in here is like, how solid would you recommend we be in niche and point of view before wading into social media content river? One of the things that we found in the class and Rise found is that the process of producing content allows you to explore a niche and point of view business essence like nothing else. It's like journaling live. It's like you're journaling in front of the world. What do I like? What is interesting to me? What is my point of view? What would be amazing for me to share that nobody else knows? those types of conversations is really incredible to see people refine who they are and how they work in short order. So I would add to those pieces. Okay, so we are at 2 hours. So I want to officially close the webinar. And I did say that she would stay on for a little bit longer. So we've got a bit more bonus time for folks that absolutely want to just be at the very end, which we can do. But I do have one more question for you. And for those of you, 28 incredible humans who have stayed on this long, thank you so much. We have one final question for you. So again, you guys know the drill, 90 seconds, throw on some music. And this question is about understanding how you are leaving. So we come into situations, we leave situations, but being able to understand what we've taken away from it, what feels that has landed from a heart perspective or a head perspective, allows us to close out a conversation in a really beautiful way. So my last question for everybody before we officially close the webinar, and we'll stay on a little bit for some bonus times for those that are really keen. What's the gift or value you're taking away from our time together here? What's the gift or value that you're taking away from the time together? Could be an idea, a conversation, could be an uplift, could be hearing an answer from Raya or an idea. But we're just going to take, again, 90 seconds, and I'll read out anybody who decides to answer this question. Again, if you don't want to, that's fine. It's been such a pleasure to be with you all today. I'm so grateful that you folks showed up. Raya has a mission to make social media sustainable and have people see it as a tool. And so to be able to host you all today has been just a joy and a gift. So I know the gift for me is being present with all of you, sharing Raya's gifts, and being able to be present with each other for a little bit of time, even in Zoom, to have this space so well held is incredible. So we've got a few people coming in, planning as possible and useful. Yes. Karin, motivation to get to storytelling. Yeah, telling the story. Love it. Sarah Yu, meeting humans who resonate with a way of being and my business and in a way that isn't performative. So nice to be around like-minded people. It seems like a few people have figured that out, and I love that it's being expressed. Peter, that this can be joy, not a chore, and that I can do it my way versus the way, which I've never understood. Breathing a sigh of relief and gratitude. Oh, Peter, thank you, sir. Catherine, it was great to hear what you were both offering and to have you on my radar. Mira, keep the bar laughably low. I love how it comes up again and again. Mira's in a permaculture design course I'm teaching, and yeah, keeping the bar laughably low is a phrase I offer quite a bit. Thanks everybody who was willing to be courageous and share what they were taking away. If anybody else wants to share, that's lovely. Jelena, that it's possible to do social media sustainably, period. I love that. That's great. All right, folks, with that, we're going to officially close the webinar. Now we're into the after party. Yay! Capes and cakes for everybody. All
And I'm
right.
still answering questions because I can't help myself.
Yeah, that's great. So maybe we'll take a few more questions and kind of go a little bit deeper. Rye, did you want to keep typing on that question as you go?
I will, yes. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, just take a few moments. As Raya does that, just thanks everybody. It's been really lovely to see you all embrace the idea of sustainable social media. We're on a mission for that. You do want to jump into the course. It would be such a pleasure to see you there. It is a very special time. There's a lot of hosting and conversations that we've had today that you'll experience there. And you get a chance to deeply know each other, which is not always the case in other courses. But having that ability to connect, converse, create. And with the advent of the co-working space, which is new this year, we had a lot of requests for that. There's just a chance to sit with each other and have a chitty chat and do the work, because nothing allows you to work quick as somebody else who's sitting beside you, like Raya and I was doing last night, late into the night preparing today. Mira, I have a bit of a sneaky one for you. In the permaculture world, there's a massive difference between a sustainable approach and a regenerative one. You've beautifully proven today that social media can be managed sustainably to avoid burnout or harm. But do you believe in digital spaces that can ever be truly regenerative? Raya, I will give you the floor first. I have opinions, so please.
I'm sure you do. Mira, I love your question. I love that's a little cheeky and provocative, and it's a great question for sure. Yes. So regenerative. I think, from my understanding, when I hear that word, I think of that long tail effect. As you're creating content, it does build upon itself, and it comes back to that ability to tap into content that you've already made by repurposing or reusing. So to me, that is building upon itself. And again, as you put in those reps, you just get better and better at your craft, and you get better at creating those systems, at creating your rhythm, and most importantly, at sharing your story. So I do think that it has those moments to keep blooming as you put in the work. And really, the hardest part is starting. And after you start, you just keep compounding all those small moves, and it becomes that beautiful garden that you've built. Javin.
Thanks, Ra. Um, so Mira, and to everybody else that doesn't know, I work in life and land design. I design landscapes under regenerative land practices, including permaculture, and I also do the same with people. And what I have found is that there's an energy audit within permaculture called regenerative, generative, and degenerative. Degenerative, if an action or process is happening, there's less than there was before, basically across all boundaries. So nuclear waste is a great example. There is energy that is produced, but the product of it is so detrimental to life that there is less than after the fact. There's more energy for a short amount of time, but in terms of the longevity of that as a byproduct, there's a lot of issues. Generative is also the word for sustainable. So can we continue with the same conversation moving forward? And the reason we use the word sustainable social media instead of regenerative social media is nobody knows what the heck regenerative means as a word. A lot of people use sustainable to think of regenerative, sort of, we're getting better. But regenerative at its core is more than before. So one of the examples, and I don't know if you were in class the other week when I was talking about this, but regenerative is like deer browsing. So deer come up to trees, they browse, and because of predator pressure, the deer move off. And the tree will send a tree hormone called an auxin, AUXIN, down to the brain of the tree going, hey, we're dying. Let's produce more tree. And so it'll produce more vegetation, it'll produce more thicker bark. And so the action can actually be regenerative. So I use that as my definition, first and foremost. So that way, you know, debating club in high school, you have to say your definitions. So what I have found with social media is that we lost the first fight with AI, and it was in social media. The way that it has the ability to hijack our attention and our brains, the way it has the ability to remove a sense of sovereignty and autonomy, we lost that 100%. But the way most of the algorithms work is to give you more of what you look for and what you see. So on my feed, I have a lot of people who are doing similar work. And so I get to see a lot of interest there. And the inspiration I get from that, because of the guardrails I've put up in terms of my personal use of social media, as opposed to my business uses of social media, has created a regenerative interaction with it. Now, if you are asking fundamental questions like, is the technology that we're using to create a social media regenerative? We're in a different world of conversation because I know about emergy and I've done cradle to cradle analysis. That's a whole different conversation. But my experience has been, and with a number of students that have gone through the course and the number of students who have come through regenerative living, when we talk about social media, about telling the story, we had a syntropic agroforestry workshop last week, which I think you were in. And there's a gentleman there, Nicholas, who had posted so much of what he was doing on Facebook to the point where people could get a really good sense of him. And one of the things I love about workshops and I love about social media or digital assets is that people get a chance to evaluate you online. So to catch and store the energy of people's interest without taking up all of your time, having these digital assets that are going out there and demonstrating your point of view or going out there and demonstrating who you are and what you do allows people at their leisure to take a look at what you're doing and go, oh, I like this person over and over again. Uh, a high school buddy of mine who we fell out of touch, but we were really close in high school, has become very popular on Instagram. I think it's called Non-Toxic Masculinity. Dustin Pace, went to high school with him. The amount of people he's bringing to the thought process that I knew he had in high school is incredible. He's bringing this idea of how do you fight fascism, but how do you do it by reading books and looking buff? So it's read books, lift weights, fight fascists. And I don't know if you could do that in any other way. I don't know if there's a way for you to get 30 people in a room in the way you do with social media. And this is why the numbers are so important. For those of us that convene workshops and bring people together, 30 people in a room is incredible. 40 people is exceptional. But when you get those numbers of views on social media, you're like, wah, wah. But you need to realize it's the repetition of people seeing your work or seeing the message you want to share into the world. And that's the repetition that gets so exciting. So for me and the people I've worked with, I have, with Rise help, I want to make that very clear. I did not believe this 2 years ago. I don't think I believed it when we were making the course, if I'm being totally honest. If I want to be like really honest here, and you guys have all been honest with me and shared, I want to be honest with you. I didn't think it was possible, but I think because of Raya's care and conversation and just how much she shows up as a person, that translates into everything she does. And that's why I think her work is so unique and does such a great job with Tad, with Andrew, with all the clients she's worked with, because she really cares about making this human scale. So great question, Mira. I would love to continue to wax poetic, and I'm so grateful that I'm stopping myself. Okay. Katrine, as a homeopath, do you need a specific niche to profit from the course? My clients have all found me by word of mouth and have huge range of chronic health problems, hard to market. Oh, I have answers for this, but Rad, please go ahead.
I love your enthusiasm. This is such a great question. And let me bring this mic closer so you can actually hear me. With the course, if you already have a feel of your point of view and your niche, you can still do this course, and we do support you in refining that, and that's why we do the live calls, so we can refine you and help you get narrowed down a bit more and feel supported in that way. It also sounds like you've been doing this for a long time too, so I feel like we can really help you with content and figuring out like what kind of content you can speak about. And I'm going to pass this over to Javin because he sounds like he's got lots of thoughts.
I got so excited, I just started talking. Okay. Thanks for not dubbing me over. We really should get back into that habit. If the other person muted, we get to dub each other. So yeah, so your homeopathic specific niche to profit clients have all found me by word of mouth, huge range of chronic problems, hard to market to. Yeah. Okay. So, a niche doesn't have to be a diagnosis, a demographic, or a single condition. It could just be a shared pattern. It could be a stage of frustration. So many people come to homeopaths or alternative medicine, as my husband is in, because they have gone through the ringer. They've gone through everything. And that, client conversation is very similar. I've done everything. People have said it's in my head. Uh, they send me for a battery of tests. Nothing's come back. And that's where I think the world of homeopathy, TCM, frequency medicine, you name it, lives. So I think part of it is like one content pillar I would play with is people with complex, chronic, unexplained symptoms. That's a lived experience. People know what that's like. And so describing that, creating conversations around that, with face, no face, video, no video, doesn't matter. The marketing that works is the marketing you'll do. So if you're up for, if you're working with a VA or if you're working with somebody else, creating that conversation so you can allow essence language to be self-subscribed. So years ago when I was working in creating pollinator gardens for city of Kelowna, I remember going in and talking with the city, and the guy I was with was like, "You speak city?" I'm like, "Yeah, I speak cityinese." You got to speak to them in the way you'd like. If you're going to talk to gorillas, you got to speak gorillanese. And so the people who have chronic conditions, they all have a language. They all have a shared cultural experience that I think you could speak to. Multiple symptoms, no clear answers, normal test results, persistent suffering, tired of being passed from practitioner to practitioner. I think that's all really there. You might also be dealing with people who are very sensitive to medication and treatments. It's a pretty classic homeopathy entry points. Strong reaction to drugs, side effects, paradoxical responses, high sensitivity to food, chemical stress, etc. I think that it would be great. Testimonial Tuesdays, if you're word of mouth, then if you aren't actively asking for testimonials or gathering them, that would be a process we definitely recommend and we work with people. Reoccurring infections, eczema, anxiety, behavior, emotional regulation. People feel burnt out by managing their health full time. I think would be another cool content pillar. Emotionally rooted or stress meditated illness. I'm sure you see a lot of adrenal fatigue, making sure that there's a hormone balance. Pituitary is usually in the realm of alternative health, which allopathic medicine really doesn't understand. So, I think the big thing there is like pattern recognition so people can see what it is you're talking about like the delicate nature of why nothing has worked yet, talking about long arcs of healing, I could see being super cool. And like this idea of the body of the communicator, so much as a homeopath, there's very specific things that homeopaths don't really talk about. And it's baked into your education, it's baked into your practice, which I would be very curious to see put into some content. I know I would be keen. Um, Maybe case studies about like diagnosis, fixation, um, choosing a different medical relationship with yourself or your body or the people around you. But like it's those blunt truths that are named that make people go, "Oh, she's speaking my language. I love this person." The holistic psychologist, Dr. Nicole Perrin, she created an entire conversation on social media because of her point of view. And so I would be super curious about your point of view on health, diagnosis, what is actively harming society at large, the things you see come across your desk. And they don't have to be common, like, say, a huge range of health chronic problems. It's like, cool, talk about chronic health, talk about how humans are great at taking stress in small doses, even in intensity, but we're terrible at uh, low level stress, low level chronic or low level stress that stretches indefinitely chronic, right? Um, I'd be so curious to hear more about that, and I think that's where the conversation that you bring is so important. So I would just say and invite you. You have an incredible gift, and talking about it will take time. And if you're keen on the course, we do that. We sit with folks. Barbara got her content pillars sorted. Here's a story. We actually should have told this story during the webinar. Barbara got her content pillars sorted in the WhatsApp group, and I'll tell you how it happened. Um, I was having my morning workout, and I listened to messages in the morning. So voice messages are very popular where we live, and in uh, the WhatsApp group, Barbara was talking about her content pillars. So I listened to it. I went and did a set. I was just thinking, okay, you're working with women who need to rest through yoga nidra. What's important? And I just sat with it for a little bit and went back and forth. And through this back and forth conversation with her and Rye came in and all the rest of it, we came to something that delighted and excited her to the point to where she was excited to post. And back to Mira's question, that's how this becomes regenerative. What is the thing that you love to share about that? If you could get somebody, or if you've seen this happen where you see like a party and somebody's like, oh, do you want to know about ancient Egypt? I can tell you. It's that type of enthusiasm we're trying to nail. We're trying to find that wellsprung that brings so much excitement to you. And I would just be really curious about that about yourself. And so maybe finding a loved one or a colleague that's willing to go through an interview process between the two of you, or if you want to jump into the course, we're going to be doing this quite a bit. So thanks so much for that. Right. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, that's wonderful. Yeah,
No,
thank you
it's
guys so much. And thank you for the last few of you who are still hanging out with us. It's great.
20 are still with us. And that's a fifth. We started with 101. That's wild.
Yeah.
All right, Raya, give us a couple of bumper
Yes.
stickers. What do you want people to walk away with? What's your final bumper
Ugh.
sticker?
Make it work for you, make it enjoyable, and put in the 1% step. Don't think about the big steps. Think about that 1%. What's the laughable low bar? What can you achieve today?
Yeah. How can you
And
put
lean
1%
into
in?
your unique point of view. Yeah. And no, just really lean into what makes you unique because that is so important because people need to be able to find you and be able to connect with you. And you need to filter your people out. You need to make it easy for people to come to your profile and say, yes, this person gets me. I want to follow them. We want to make that easy.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Raya. And Esther said
Thank
it best.
you.
As you said that, it's 2020 in the UK, Raya. You are giving 2020 vision vibes. So great. All right, folks.
Amazing.
It was such a pleasure to have you all here. Thank you so much for all your
Mm,
dedication and time. We hope to see you in something in the future.
absolutely.
We've got some great new conversations coming up in the new year. If you're keen, definitely jump in and we will see you in the next one. Take care, everybody. Such
Thank
a pleasure.
you.